Woo! Mix it up. Boom! Great morning, you guys. Happy Monday. I don't know about you guys, but I feel extra rested, extra good. Why? Because we just had daylight savings and we got that extra hour. So I felt good waking up. And Roxy and I had a photo shoot yesterday, so we really dialed in for that. You know, you got to do some things as you're going into a photo shoot. You got to eat a certain way, drink liquids a certain way, and then not drink liquids a certain way. And really excited to be done with that. The pictures came out great. Can't wait to share them with you all. But am excited to be back in the game with yes, those are herbal waffles. Bomb! I'm about to kill them. If you don't know about herbal waffles, now you know. You mix the Formula 1 with some egg whites. We add in a little bit of almond powder and mix it up. Bomb. You can top it with fruit. You can top it with low sugar jelly. And it's ridiculously good. So that's going to be my body food, and we're about to get our mental food because we got a great video for you guys today on Triple M. Tony Robbins. If you don't know him, he was mentored by Jim Rohn. He's spoken around the world. Roxy and I have actually been to one of his events, Unleash the Power Within, one of the most amazing events of all time that we've ever attended. So here he's going to be talking about how to master anything. Because I'm going to give you guys a little hint. Mastery is your key, my key, her key, and his key to success. Because if you're a master, you can command whatever kind of salary you want. You can command whatever kind of income you want because people need what you have. You're a master in whatever field that you choose. If you're a novice, there's no problem with being a novice. We all got to be a novice at one time. But the problem is if you stay a novice for too long. So this is you're going to learn how to become a master in whatever you want. So without further ado, remember to take your notes. We're going to have some live shares at the end. If you're at work, you can't share live, no problem. Thank you for tuning in still. But put your takeaway in the chat bar and let's hear from you because everybody's perspective is very valuable. So without further ado, let's get into how to master anything with Tony Robbins.
You know, any success program that I've ever had the good fortune to go through, whether it be a good book, a good set of tapes, a good seminar, almost every single one talks about the power of goal setting. Why? Because it's a fundamental key to all lifelong success plans you could possibly imagine. The challenge, of course, is we hear it so often, we tend to take it just a little bit for granted, don't we? I mean, get yourself in the point where you've heard it so often, you go, please don't talk about goal setting. You know, I know all about it. Yes, I should make sure my goals are stated in the positive. Yes, I should write them down. Yeah, I know all that stuff. Come on. But you know what? You got to be careful not to get caught in that trap called the law of familiarity. You know, where you get so used to it, you begin to take it just a little bit for granted. Because fundamentals have to be practiced daily. Hey, think about the greatest coaches that you can think of in sports history. Names that come up for me are names like Vince Lombardi, for example, or John Wooden. What were they known most for? Teaching fundamentals to people that were already the best at what they do. I mean, think about it. John Wooden would take a basketball player, a kid who's the best in the world at what he does virtually, at least for his age group, and he can make a shot from virtually anywhere, and he go, that's a cute kid, get over here, and I want you to shoot 400 free throws. And the kid says, I can do that. He said, yeah, well, let's see you do it. Or come over here and I want to see you shoot 500 bank shots from 5 feet. Well, I can do that, the kid would say. He goes, yeah, I know you can do it, and you're going to do it every day this many times so that you do it in the key clutch moments. You got to practice fundamentals every day. He won 11 consecutive national championships, unlike any team in history. That's the power of fundamentals. So anytime I do a workshop, anytime I try and do tapes, usually I put a goal-setting workshop in there. And some of them have some similarities. So if you've done one with me before, here's a chance to do it again and do it even more effectively. Invariably, when I hear people say something like, well, teach me something new, I know they aren't into mastery. Because repetition, again, is the mother of skill. You've heard me say that over and over again. It's because if you want to master anything, you've got to do it over and over and over again. And every time I do a goal-setting workshop myself, I obviously make new distinctions. I set up some new goals. They change. So don't take it for granted and say, well, these 2 tapes are on goals, and they're short and they're simple, and I can do that some other time. I already know my goals. Don't get caught in that hook. The bottom line is do the exercise as if you're setting goals brand new and fresh. And for most people, they don't have a clearly defined set of goals anyway. Again, you know, I'm now taking Taekwondo, and I have the good fortune of training with the Grand Master of Taekwondo in the United States. His name is Grandmaster Jun Rhee. And the interesting thing about Jun Rhee as a master is he taught me something. He taught me to go from the frame of mastering simple things over and over again. Everything he teaches to become a black belt breaks down to 7 simple moves. Isn't that interesting? Now what's interesting is he says that most people never make it to black belt because they keep coming in and say, show me something new. He said, no. You have to master the fundamentals. And if you do those and you do them over and over again, you'll be a black belt easily and consistently. So don't get caught in those traps. Break through the bonds of your past and look at the world in a whole new way where you understand fundamentals must be practiced daily and you'll do whatever it takes. You're not bored by fundamentals. You get excited about doing the daily things that create the ongoing level of happiness and joy you want for a lifetime. Now, let's take a quick look. What is the power of goals? Why do we talk about them so much? Why do we need to use them? Why are they important? Answer, with goals, we create the future in advance. We create our destiny. We shape our lives. Hey, we all have goals whether we know it or not. The problem is some people have really lousy goals. And whatever your goals are, they're affecting you. Maybe your goals are to get through this day. Maybe the goals are how to pay the lousy bills. The problem with goals like that is they don't exactly inspire you and get you to jump out of bed early in the morning saying, I can't wait to go out today and pay my lousy bills. Rarely does that really create emotion and drive inside of you. Goals can create the power to make us grow and expand and develop our success. But we've got to have something out there that's compelling enough to draw us forth. Done properly and specifically, they transform our lives. One of my best and favorite examples is a study that was done in 1953 at Yale University. What they did there was an intensive study where they interviewed the graduating class just before they left school. And they asked them a whole series of questions, but the one that was most interesting for me was they asked them, how many of you have a clear, specific set of goals with a written plan for their achievement? Well, interestingly enough, as you might guess, less than 3% had a set of written goals with a plan. 20 years later, in 1973, they went back and interviewed the surviving class members of the class of 53. And they interviewed these people to find out what were their lives like. Well, the interesting thing was the 3% that had written goals that specifically had a plan for their attainment appeared to be happier, more well-adjusted, more excited about their life as a whole. But see, those things are subjective. The one thing that's very measurable is this. The group of people who had written goals were worth more in financial terms than the entire other 97% that didn't have goals combined. Think about that. That's the power of goal setting. I can tell you in my own life, it has transformed me. That you can know all the techniques of how to condition yourself to succeed, but if you don't know why you're doing it, if you don't know what it is you're moving towards, then it's rare that you're going to get the most out of yourself. Years ago, I had the unique good fortune as I began to study some of these technologies for optimum performance. I was invited to go to Russia, and I spent over there approximately 2 weeks. During that time, I got a chance to explore many aspects of Russia. I got to go to the universities. I got a chance to meet with some of the people who were involved in optimum performance technologies. And in the process of doing that, I found myself on one stretch where I was on the Trans-Siberian Railway, where I was going literally from Moscow all the way to Siberia and then back to Leningrad again. We're talking about a large stretch of land and a lot of time to just think. During that time, I was just starting to develop some of my personal power. I really hadn't created my life the way I wanted it, but I felt like there were some possibilities out there for me. I was still living in my 400 square foot bachelor apartment. I was still overweight. I was still in a position where I really didn't have my life where I wanted it in terms of my relationships. But on that trip, for 2.5 days, all I did was set goals. And then for another 2 or 3 days, all I did was design plans on how I was going to achieve them. And I set goals that were well beyond my present ability or skill. I had no idea how I was going to make them happen. And that's important. But I operated from a principle that's talked about in every religion known to man. So regardless of what you believe religiously or spiritually, it's a common law. And that is the power of absolute total belief and faith. I operated from the frame that if I could get inspired enough, if I found a goal that was exciting enough for me, I would figure out how to make it happen. Even though right now it might seem impossible, I would pull it off. And I laid out goals for my life in virtually every area. Personally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, physically, financially. And I chunked down, what do I want in my life ultimately, and what do I want right now? And a lot of areas I thought, well, I can make it happen. I figured I can get control of my emotions. And so I set goals about how I wanted to be, how I wanted to communicate, how much joy I wanted to have, how much passion, how I want to live every single day, the kind of person I wanted to be as a human being. I described my relationships. I described the woman of my dreams in detail. I took 6 pages to describe exactly the kind of person, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually I wanted in my life, and physically. Described her in detail. In addition, I described how I wanted my kids to be. I described everything. Now you might say, well, gosh, you're really creating a lot of limitations. I set goals, and I look at them, and then I review them and see if they still make sense to me. But I did it in detail. I also did it in the area of finances, and I set some pretty absurd goals. I decided I want to make $250,000 a year in personal income. At the time, I was making less than $3,000 a month. $3,000 was a good month. Guess what happened? I came back. I laid out this plan. In fact, I did the plan on the back of a map that I bought in Russia. I have it to this day where I broke down the whole thing. I show it oftentimes to people in my seminars so they get an idea of where I was and what I actually created just by designing the roadmaps necessary for success. I came back and began to implement it. A lot of my plans, I have to tell you, did not work out. But I achieved over 80% of my goals in less than 12 months. I mean, massive change. I went well beyond anything I dreamed of. I changed myself physically. I lost all the weight. I changed myself emotionally and developed the confidence that was necessary. I changed myself and my relationships massively. I attracted the woman of my dreams. I married her about a year after that. I had decided I wanted to have 4 kids. I got 3 instantly. What a deal. I was on a roll. I took myself from totally broke financially to over $1 million net worth in less than 12 months. You talk about massive change. My life changed in every level. I mean, I can tell you how much my confidence changed, but you might go, oh, big deal. But it did. My level of confidence, my level of faith, my ability to create rapport changed radically. I mean, and I also set thing goals besides my personal development goals because I felt confident that I could probably accomplish some of the development within myself. But I felt like I can control that. I can't control the outside world or my economics or the ability to get things. That was my hang-up at the time. I set goals for things like I was going to have a limousine, a stretched limousine. I mean, how absurd. I had a car that was breaking down continuously. I had a stretched limousine within 6 months. I mean, I'm talking about massive, massive change. I mean, you can't imagine the kind of miracles that happen. I know this sounds fluffy and bizarre, but it really works. I remember when the first time I went to Fiji. I mean, it's my favorite place in the world. I thought, I've been everywhere. I've been to most of the major countries in the world. This is the most beautiful, amazing land I've ever been to. I gotta own a piece of property on this specific island. I never would have thought in a million years that 2 years later, after setting that goal, I'd own an island, or that I own a resort in Namali. It's one of the top 3 resorts in Fiji now. I go there 4 times a year with 20 of my best friends, and we all have a blast. And we set our goals there. We relook at our lives and balance it and have fun. I mean, it's amazing. But if you were to try to tell me that 2 years earlier, I would have said, you are absolutely insane. You're nuts. There's just no way. I mean, get real. And I'm here to tell you, don't get real. Get intelligent. Because what's real to you today is based on your past experiences. And if you limit your future based on your past, you're not going to go anywhere. You got to get the goals that are big enough to drive you, to excite you. So don't stop and go, well, how do I do it? That's not the first step. The first step is get it down. And if you do that, you can create your island, your paradise, whether that be something emotional inside of you want to create, like a character change or a behavior or a habit, or whether that's a business you want to start, or whether that's some kind of money you want to earn or something you want to do for your children. I mean, I'm telling you, it can happen. The magic that you've heard about and dreamed about is real, and it starts with a simplistic process of taking these generalized impulses of desire and starting to define them with more precision. This is the power of goal setting. And we don't understand totally how it works. There's something beyond just what we understand of writing something down. Something happens. You become a creator when you write down goals and you get clear as to absolutely why you'll make them happen. And by the way, that's the key that we're going to touch on here in detail. We've got to make sure that you not only set goals, but you get absolutely clear why you want them. Because there's a fundamental key to goal setting that changed my life, and that is this. Purpose is stronger than outcome. What do I mean? Well, I think that the purpose of goals is not so you get things. The purpose of any goal, the real reason to set goals, is what they will make of you as a person. Hey, look, at the end of your life, all the things that you accumulate are not going to make you happy. At the end of your life, all you're going to have is who you've become as a person, the moments you've created in your life that you'll never forget. So some people in life, they go out and set goals and they do it blindly. They say, these are all things I want to have in my life. And they focus, let's say, on things. And there's nothing wrong with focusing on things. I want you to have as many things as you want. That's part of life too. That's part of the manifestation process of creating results. But if all you do is focus on getting things, it may cost you. Some people in their desire to get things have given up their own integrity of who they want to be, of what they want to create in their life. And you got to be careful of that. You got to make sure when you set a goal, you know why you're doing it. Hey, you might work real hard, for example, to do something thing-oriented. Let's say you want to make $1 million. But see, $1 million only motivates you so much. Becoming the kind of person who's able to manifest total abundance financially and physically for themselves and the people around them, that's rather exciting. Having the freedom that you think the money will give you, or having the ability to give, or having the ability to do things that you think that money will give you, or having more time, that'll motivate you a lot more than just the money. Does that make sense? The problem with setting goals is, one, most people take them for granted. They don't do it seriously and they don't do it consistently. They do it once a year, and they do it at New Year's. They run into the New Year's syndrome. They set a goal and they don't even look at it till a year later and they go, oops, I kind of screwed up, and they set a new one. So they have no power. Secondly, they don't realize the power of goals. They take it lightly. They go, well, yeah, I got these goals, but they don't make sure that they get it inside their head where it's absolutely real for them. They don't realize that when they set a goal, they're now creating something in life. And finally, the biggest challenge, I think, is that these people don't know why they're going for their goals. So the object, the goal itself, yeah, they get enthusiastic for a while and then it dies out. Again, why is different for everyone, but you got to find out the reasons. I believe this. Reasons come first, answers come second. If you get a big enough reasons to do something, to accomplish something, you can figure out how to do it. But if all you do is set up a goal and say, oh gosh, how am I going to go about it? You're not going to be inspired enough. It's not going to be compelling enough for you to really create long-term results. Every great success I know has figured out the why behind their goals, and that's their power. So in our process on the next tape tomorrow, when we do the goal-setting work,
ooh-wee. Man, that was super powerful. Fired up. All right, Rox, what you got for us?
Man, I never even have time to review my notes because I took so many notes. So some of my biggest takeaways, man, I loved the beginning when he was talking about we have to practice fundamentals every day, every single day. And I remember there was a point in my life where I was just like, I'm bored. Or I'm bored with this. I want to do something new. And like he said, if you're bored, it's because he knows that you have yet to master any true fundamentals. And that's exactly what makes people successful, is the repetition of the fundamentals. So I really, really love that, because inside of our business, and this could be for any kind of business, but inside of our business, we do the same thing. We use the products, we wear the brand, and we talk to people, and that's exactly what we keep doing. And I've had people ask me like, well, what do you do? I'm bored with this. Or it's because you have yet to master what you need to master. So I really, really love that. And then I love the whole talk on the power of goals. I loved how he talked about how with goals, we create our future in advance. I remember there was a big part of my life where I would not write down goals. I would write them down, not even write them down, or maybe I did. I can't remember. How he said at the very beginning of the year, I would be so ecstatic because it was going to be a new year, new me, and I have all these plans, but then came the new year and came months later, I was not really in alignment with my goals because I had not looked back at them since I wrote them down, and now it's completely different. Every single month, Aubrey and I write down our goals. Like every single month, beginning of the month, we have new goals to go after. And at the end, we know the outcome. And that's important. But then he also talked about how even when you write down your goals, you need to know why you're doing the things that you're doing. It's not just for the outcome, but there has to be a deeper meaning to it, a deeper why to the goal. Because if you don't know why you do what you do, then when things get tough, you're just going to quit. it's going to be natural for you to say, like, you know what, I can't do this. I'm just going to quit. It wasn't worth my time, or this or that, whatever it may be. That's because you're not really clear on why you're doing what you're doing. And he said, yes, the money and all of these things and the things will be great, but there has to be something bigger than that. And he said, purpose drives people more than the outcome. You know, you can have goals, but who are you becoming in the process? So I really love that. And I loved how he talked about that. I guess they did a study, and he talked about the 3% and the 97%, and how they went back to this class, and that 3% of the people that wrote down their goals were happier and were worth more than the 97% of people combined. Like, just think about that. Like, that was just so powerful to hear, because it's so, so true. You think any like successful CEO or just anybody that's worth a lot, like, doesn't set goals for themselves on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, and not just in terms of things, but in who they are becoming. So I thought that was powerful. And the last one I'm going to leave you guys with, I loved how he talked about operate from belief and faith. You know, he created these things before he was who he is now. He's like, I was barely making on a good month. It was $3,000 a month. And I was writing some crazy, ridiculous goals. He's like, I didn't know how it was going to happen. And if you worry about that, you write down the goals and you're trying to get the answer. He said, that's not how it's going to happen. You have to have unwavering belief and faith that these things are going to happen. And then not just going to happen, but you have to create the how of how these things are going to happen. You can't just sit there and write the goals and believe, if you're not getting into action and going after it. So I really, really love that. And I have a lot more takeaways, but
yeah, let's save some for everybody else.
I'll save some for Aubrey.
Let's get it.
Because Aubrey's about to go in right now.
Thank you. I really love this video. I'm going to tell you guys for a few reasons why I really love it. I feel like Tony talks such wisdom that when you hear it, truth with a capital T is like truth that is undeniable. When you hear it, it's like it resonates in a certain way, regardless of background, race, religion, sex, and gender. And I feel like this was true just for me. And a couple of things that really hit me. Don't get caught on the hook. He said, people say, oh, well, I already wrote my goals, or I've already done this. And you know what? I used to kind of try to convince those people, hey, let's write goals together. I'm going to tell you right now, I personally don't try to convince anybody. And when I hear people talking like that, I just say, cool, no matter, that's cool. You do what you do. I just know we're not going to be working close together. And I say that because you get to decide which person you're going to be, because there's going to be two kinds of people. There's going to be the people that don't set goals, that don't think it's important, that wake up late and go to sleep early and waste their time. And then you know what? There's going to be people that say, you know what? I'm going to set my goals. I've got some things I want to accomplish. I'm here for a reason. I'm going to make it happen. And at the end of the day, we all get to choose which one we're going to be, because it's just a mindset. That's all it is. So for me, I get to look at, when have I been that person that says, okay, I'm ready to set goals? And when have I been that person that says, oh, this is another goal setting session. This is another this. And I let myself get caught on that hook. And I get to choose which person I'm going to be. And that's all it is, because the different mindsets create a different outcome. That's all. It's like when I turn left on the freeway versus when I turn right, they take me a different direction. One is west, one is east. If I'm trying to get to the beach and I take eastbound, I'm probably not going to get there. That's all it is. So when he talked about this, he said, when you set goals, you got to think about it in the way of practicing fundamentals. He said Vince Lombardi, John Wooden, top coaches in the NFL and the college basketball, they would have a top player from around the country, and they would say, guess what? We about to do 500 layups. We about to do 500 free throws. I don't care if you can dunk. I don't care if you can cross over. I don't care if you're 7 foot. I don't care if you're super fast. We're going to practice these fundamentals. Guess why? Because it doesn't matter how talented you are if you don't have the fundamentals. Because the fundamentals are the doorway to use your talent. So practicing fundamentals and making sure that repetition, if it's starting to feel boring and it's starting to feel like I've done this already and it's starting to feel like, why am I doing this continuously? You're on the right track. Dope. Perfect. In Herbalife, we talk about it. Use where talk. If you're feeling like you're going to events and you're hearing the same things, perfect. You're on the right track. If you're talking to people and you're telling them about what you're excited, perfect, you're on the right track, because that's what we do. Repetition is the mother of skill. If you went into the gym and said, you know what? I'm tired of curling. I've done curls. I did 3 sets of 10 on Tuesday. Why am I going to do it again today on Friday? Guess what? You're not going to have the arms popping. You think any person with their arms, their abs, their chest, their legs looking good goes into the gym and like, well, last week I did that. You know what? No, they hit it again and again and again, because that's how they get to where they want to go. So that really touched me. I love the Yale study. I don't know about you guys, but that taught me enough in and of itself. They said 3% of the people from Yale had a goal list and a plan. And then not only were they happier, more fulfilled, and more purpose-driven, they were worth more than the other 97% combined. I was like, damn, that's it. That's it. You ain't got to tell me no more. You just gave me the key. You just gave me the secret sauce to what it takes. That was crazy, you guys. When I heard a Yale study, let's be real, Yale's one of the top colleges in the country, if not the world, and that happened there. So only imagine what the percentages are like around the world in other countries and other colleges. Crazy. And now I'm going to leave you guys with this one, and we're going to get to some more shares. Don't base your tomorrow on yesterday. He said when you're setting goals, if you're only going to base it on what you've already created, you're going to keep getting what you've gotten. That's why he had to set his goals so massive that it looked ridiculous at the time. But now he can look back and say, you know what? Well, I made it happen. Why? Because he didn't say, you know what? Well, I made 3,000 on a good month in the past 12 months. I'm going to just shoot for 3,000 or 3,500. He stretched and said, I'm going to be making $250,000. That's a massive stretch. But you know what? As human beings, we get to be creators. To know that our tomorrow and yesterday don't have to be one and the same if we so choose. Because goals are how you create your future in advance. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. When you're creating your goals, when you're declaring your goals, if you don't feel uncomfortable, if you don't feel like, oh shit, like that feeling, you know that feeling. That's the only reason I use that word, because it's like if you don't feel that feeling, your goals are not big enough. Your goals are not big enough. I'm being 100. And if you're afraid about, well, what if I say this and I don't do this? Nobody's going to care as long as you go for it. If you say, you know what, by the end of 2017, I'm going to be making $10,000 a month with my Herbalife business or whatever business you're in, and you've only made $2,000 a month before that, do you think people are really going to be upset if you make $7,000 a month in that year? They're going to be cheering you on. Why? Because you set a goal and you went for it. That's it. Now, I'm going to tell you on the opposite side, if you say, I'm going to make $10,000 a month, and then you're sitting at home eating Frito-Lays, you're probably going to get crowned. And I'm probably going to be one of them. Because you said something and you ain't do no work. I'm keeping it 100. So if you say something and you go after it with everything you got, nobody can ever fault you. Ever. So I'm excited because perfect time when we're going into 2017, we're about to have some big, huge goals. And therefore, we're going to have a big, huge year. Let's get it. All right. Let's get a few shares from the call-in line. Who's ready? Who's got a quick share for me? Give me a smile. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a let's get it. I'm looking at faces. Let's get it. Justin Tumat, let's get it. What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, Aubrey?
Good
morning. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Good, man. I think my biggest takeaway, I'm actually out going to play some morning soccer this morning. But I think my biggest takeaway this morning was when he said he went from barely $3,000 a month to, his first 12 months, making $250,000 that year, and his market value skyrocketed. That was very powerful. It goes to show that with just a little bit of hard work and determination, you can literally change not only your income, but and then also he said, don't chase for the money. Think about more or less what you can do with the money, and that'll give you a more powerful reason as opposed to what you're doing, as opposed to just getting $1 million. That'll only motivate you for so long, but you can figure out what you can do with that $1 million, get more money, and what you can help your other people and your friends and family and circle of influence do. That was really, really powerful for me. So that's my takeaway this morning, guys.
Super powerful. Thanks, Justin. Marky Mark in the building. If you guys didn't know, that's Marky Mark's fit twin. Let's get it. Let's get another share. Who's got a share? Give me a smile. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a
or get off mute.
there we go. Armani.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Great morning, great morning. So my takeaways, Roxy pretty much hit the whole thing. I'm not gonna lie, she hit the whole list. So I'd say, for instance, someone that really got me, like she said, was repetition. Like I always wondered why they kept saying this, and it makes a lot more sense now, because like you practice it for mastery. If you master that, your business will definitely grow. And I really feel like, because I never was the one to write my goals down and go back and look at them at all. So like I have a goal I set in Extravaganza that I'm actually going to go back and look at to see where I'm at right now, and write some new goals like Timber Moves, because I'm going there and making sure I'm hitting those. And I love the video, by the way. It was awesome. That was my takeaway from today.
Super dope. Looking at goals, going back and checking in on them, so powerful. You heard Tony Robbins say most people set a New Year's goal and don't look at it till next New Year's. For me, I try to set my goals written every single day so my mind is always on them, because what you think about, you bring about. So if you're always thinking about your goals, your mind is actually creating ways for you to bring them forth in your life. It's not even on a conscious level. It's a subconscious level. Your subconscious is working. You said you want this and you said you want that. So I'm going to line you up with this person. I'm going to line you up with this opportunity. I'm going to line you up with this connection. But if you never think about it, the universe doesn't know where to take you. It's like every morning you get up and you go somewhere, you got to put in that GPS every morning. Imagine if you tried to get somewhere and you only put your GPS in on January 1st and you're going across the country. Remember, big goals, aka across the country, and you only put it in January 1st. What are the likelihood that you're going to get there? Every single day. Every single day. I like to do goals, intentions, gratitude, and then I do outcomes on the bottom of my page. I start with gratitude. What am I grateful for? I start with what are my intentions for the day? I start with my goals for the whole year and then for the month. And then at the bottom, I put 2020 vision, outcomes by 2020. Home, family, impact, whatever it is, 30K, 3 Diamond Presidents team. That's what we'll be before 2020. So every single day I give my mental GPS, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? And then we just take another step, another step. Every journey is just another step in the direction of where you intentionally want to go. So perfect, awesome shares today, you guys. I'm going to give you guys a lot of props because today was the biggest Triple M ever. We had 24 officially on the line because of not only the energy that we're all bringing, but we're sharing it. We're telling people. We're inviting friends. We're resharing the flyer. And I'm excited because very soon it's going to be 50. It's going to be 100. Herbalife is going to say, hey, can you guys bring Triple M to the Herbalife stage and do a webinar? These things are going to happen because together we're creating a place for people to start their Monday great. And it's not even like they have to be a member and building a business. They just got to be wanting to build a better life. That's the foundation of Triple M, and we take it and apply it where we choose. But these are fundamental principles for life. So I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to unmute everybody. Let's get it.
Hey, let's go.
Let's go. Peace,